Oh, do 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 do. Oh, do 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 do. What? Ah. Oh, come on. Really? What happens when tools die? Now what? Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. Hi, I'm Justin the Guy. Obviously, I have a garage shop. Take scary out of used, one bike at a time. If you want to be kept up to date on latest projects and topics, please like and subscribe. Welcome back to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. Hey, I'm Justin the Guy, and we are going to talk about tools today. Especially this one. Yeah, every now and then you'll have something fail if you're working on it in a tool workshop setting. Yeah, some of these guys, they either break, snap, or what have you. But what we have in this one is my ultrasonic cleaner, which I've had about 3 years, cranking on it about 3 or 4 days a week. Actually, for about 3 years. I'm surprised it lasted this long because, I bought it used and it looked pretty new. So just to get myself into doing what I'm doing, well, it finally went kaput. First, I thought it was the switch in the back. I fiddled with that. I am no electrician, so I'm not going to go into that mess of a thing. Everything else looks good in there, so maybe at some point I'll visit it. But being in a bike shop setting, it's boom, we need it replaced now. So, of course, I bounced on Amazon and got myself another one. Well, I didn't get the same brand because the same model as this one was not going to be available until a few days later, and I can get the one that looked very similar. So we're going to take a look at that one and compare it. Price-wise, it's just a smidgen cheaper, but I got it, and it looks pretty much identical. So we're going to unbox this and check it out, and we're going to do a run-through and see how it cleans and see if it works very similar to the Vivor, if I'm saying it right, V-E-V-O-R, Vivor, brand, which, like a lot of these other parts and tools and stuff are made all in the same place. So we're just going to check that out and see what we come up with and see if it works out. If not, got to return on a new one, right? Man, it was a hit that I didn't want to take at this time of year. But anyway, let's check this out. So let's push this one aside and make room for another one. All right, straight from Amazon. Okay. Well, I don't mind spending money on tools, but I'd rather probably spend money on tools that are new to add to the fleet versus replacing. But it happens and it needs to be done now and then and again. So let's check out the packaging on this guy. Looks like it's pretty well packaged. Get these little guys out of the way. Use those for a bike tool or packing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down and pick it up. All right, so that's pretty much it out of the box. So that's pretty straightforward. And looking at these two guys comparably, like being in industry for cycling, you'll see two things, and it is pretty close to the same. The external texturing of the metal plating is different, but the buttons are the same pretty much, maybe pretty close in the same position. Granted, I'm not sure how old this model is, but it looks very similar to the ones I've seen that are new, so it's probably still relevant as in compared. And looking at the lid here, compared to this lid, pretty much identical. So, and obviously the size I wanted to match, because I've had really good luck with the tank. It's more like 10, 11 inches both directions square versus the longer, skinnier. So I like to be able to put crank sets in here. So we got a similar plug. This valve system is pretty similar to that. Hey, this time I got actual instructions. And here's our basket. Let's see if they've improved the basket. I did have a problem with the other basket. I'll show you why. This basket looks like it might be a little better because it's rounded and it's coated. Okay, that's supposed to just lift everything up the bottom. The problem with this one was, problem with this one was it had, instead of those rounded bits, it had pokey, and this had little rubber bumpers on there, but they'd always fall off. So I'd be sifting around the fluid trying to find them. Eventually I lost them. Then I found some other ones and tried to fit them on there, and that didn't work. So I've just been running it just metal on metal the whole time. I mean, it still works, but in any case, this looks like a better design here. And also, oh, right off the bat, this one has actually kind of a screen plug drain, as the other one did not. So that could be either good or bad. Doesn't look like I can remove it. So gunk builds up, right? And whatever. In any case, if I come across any situation, I got some spokes. We can poke holes through things, so I'm sure that's not going to be a problem. And looking at it, construction-wise, very similar. Switch-wise, very similar. So we'll see if that's the case. I did have this thing apart underneath. I noticed there's 6 kind of cylinder type shapes. So this is ultrasonic. When I looked at the picture online, it showed just one, which kind of looked like, yeah, that's not quite right. Was one better than 6? Well, this actually looks very similar. And the bottom part, we're looking at the fan underneath and looking at the bottom, pretty much the same old, same old. So that being said, if this lasts another 3 years being new, if not longer, I'll be super happy, considering I put these through the ringer. I mean, it's one of those things, I'm constantly throwing stuff in there and cycling several times, and I really put the test to it. Where this one had a little bit of a switch issue, so I soldered the switch because the plastic piece broke off of the switch portion on this guy. So to turn it on and off, I had to plug it in and unplug it. That was the only complaint that I would having on this one, but it didn't do that until like 1.5 years, almost 2 years into it. So it could be just a bad switch or whatever. I will probably see if I can find a little switch mechanism that I can replace it, see if I can get it to work again to have a backup. I thought about having a backup since I use it all the time anyway. I looked on the used market again. Didn't really see anything that would fit my needs. I really kind of lucked out on this guy. So yeah, let's load this up and see what it does. Pardon the interruption, there is more. More you say? Push the more button. Push it. Push it. I dare you to push it. Once you push that button, you get more details about the video you are watching, in addition to all the tools that I use in the shop, as well as suggestion for improving your ride. In addition to help me provide advocacy in the cycling community, also links to other social media accounts as well as my website to find the products I actually sell and other insights in the industry. Other videos linked below. Extend your cycling experience here on YouTube. And now back to your original programming. All right, so we have a spot here, which looks like it's gonna fit just like the old one. Have it on some boards there to lift it. Basket lives over here. Oh, that's a little bit wider actually. Huh. Interesting. So before I turn this on, I'm gonna fill it up with fluid. What I'm going to use is, what I use is simple green. I do 1 to 7 parts water, 6 parts water, 7 parts water to 1 part simple green. Keep it diluted to a point that it doesn't etch everything. And then when I have to really concentrate and clean certain parts, I put it in a bag or a jar. And that really kind of breaks everything up for me. So let's just plug this bad boy in. So these are just water, You're using these tanks or buckets, bottles. I have a shop sink, so I'm able to use the hot water. So I'm going to start with high temperature right off the bat, which that's where you want to be at to start off with. And looking at that, and looking at my, that's where we're at. I'll probably do this much of simple green. This is the only time it's going to look pretty green. After that, I'll turn the dirty dinge color. Looks like I need to top it off probably with one more of these guys. All right, how I like to fill these up is not totally all the way, because I want to have some extra room to add more fluid when need be, because when I do concentrated, I just dump the concentrated right in there. So around about that rounded edge there. That's where I like to start, and I just save the rest for flushing it out for another time. All right, let's prep the part. All right, I'm gonna disassemble a derailleur, rear derailleur. This is the Shimano light action old school. So I'm gonna take the jockey pulleys out. You can see they're caked up. Let's be a good test and see how well this will get the grime off, but I do like to at least shed off this excess gunk. As you can see, it is not that wonderful. Ugh. Looks like this has been caked on for a couple decades. This light action Shimano derailleur has been around since probably 90s, I would guess. Then there's also these little that's very familiar, the newer ones, but magnet. And you slide this little guy out. That explodes all the little bits there. And on to the next one. Oh, this is missing its little pin there. I'll just use this for a cleaning exercise anyway. So, this is the dirtiest part that I have right now in the shop. So, there lies. This is the experiment. So, we'll see if it cleans out all that grime. We'll see if it just takes this all off. Initial swipe. And for heck, I'm just going to leave the cake portion on here. Let's see what it does to that. But still disassemble it, like so. So I got my derailleur. Question is, this wedged in the other one, so this is a little bit bigger basket, which is fine. It just needs, I just need to be mindful not to dump it while I'm in there. Onto the tank. Lights come on. Hey! So this is telling me like the preset, and this is in Celsius, so the temperature of the water I already put in there is at 35-ish. Preset to 5 minutes. That's usually the cycles I do on pretty much everything. So, and to turn on the heating element, you can turn on here, you can turn it on up and down. Prettier lights anyway. So, all right, let's submerge these parts and push that button. Don't push it. Don't push it. Ah, I gotta push it. Oop. Well, you can't see it. It's not that clear. I should have just done clear water, but you can see it just blow up that dirt. We'll see how well it cleans after 5 minutes. Let's check it. There we go. Oh, this one doesn't beep. It just turns off. That's okay. Whatever. All right. Well, the green is definitely a dark green now. And lo and behold, wow. Of course, you know that vacuum cleaner salesperson that went door to door back in the day? They bring out their Hoover, whatever it is, brand, and they go like, let's compare it to your old like vacuum cleaner side by side, they sprinkle crap on your carpet, and you take your new one and suck it up, and you take your old vacuum and be like, it doesn't suck up. Well, if you switched out the bag and cleaned all the crap out of the roller and everything, it would have done the exact same thing. Granted, this is the same fluids and so forth. Fresh, after a couple cycles, doesn't work as well, but every time I did a fresh one here, it was pretty good too, regardless how old it was until it stopped working. All right. So what we got here is that actually cleaned pretty good. Maybe would have done a second cycle on this to clean it out even more, so that's not too bad. You notice it took out most of it, and that caked on stuff, that's why I pre-scrape, pre-brush to get a lot of stuff off. That way it has a chance of really breaking it up. But it definitely has polished up that metals. And taking a look at the jockey pulleys. Okay, the jockey pulley, this was on the same too, so it still has that caked up mess, but it's a lot easier to get off. So sometimes I have to run it first to soften the gunk up, and then I take a brush all this stuff off, and then run it through another cycle to get it to completely clean. But looking at the other one, pretty darn good. Most of that will rinse off in water. Then looking at the small parts, some of the stuff is really hard to get out. And again, I didn't pre-treat this. I just used the 1:7, or 1:6 ratio, the simple green. So need a little scrubbing again, throw it back in there and do another cycle. That should do the trick on that. So being new compared to the older one when it was working, very similar outcome. So I'm actually pretty happy because I was worried to get a different brand and be like, this is not doing what it's supposed to do. This one functions just the same, and it's Creworks, play with words. A little bit easier to say than verb. So Creworks and verb is the two brands we're featuring here, but Creworks seems to work just as well as the other one, as ultrasonic cleaner. I know there's higher grade ones out there that get really expensive, but in this case, you know, this is actually not too bad, and it seems to work. I actually like the size of the basket better. It's a little bit wider, so after running through some cycle of parts, I'll probably be really happy with that. In addition to, you know, it's a little bit cleaner, bigger size, nice fluids, and kind of seeing the steam coming off. It is wintertime here, so right now. But anywho, yeah, there we go. It works. It replaced. See if I can fix that one for spare, or use it for spare parts, since it is very similar. If I need to switch something out, I might be able to do that. In any case, well, thanks for going through this journey of getting a new tool, which is not so new to me, but it's newer, or, you know, whatever. So either one, links will be listed below. Ultrasonic cleaning has definitely been a game changer for the cycle industry of parts and cleaning and so forth. And you'll see that in a lot of shops in your area that do that particular service. Cuts down a lot of chemicals, makes the parts come out cleaner and more effective, saves down a lot of time. So there's a lot of win-win-wins with these. You just have to have the right tank. For your lift, I paid like 150 so bucks on sale on this one. Got it in a day. Yeah, it's actually not too bad if you're going to add something to your work garage. It's good for all sorts of cleaning parts and jewelry as well. What I was told at my jeweler, tidbit, gold nugget, 409, and your rings. Go in a little baggie, throw it in there, cook it for 5 minutes. It should polish everything up. I think that's all they do in the back, and they do a little buffing, of course. Used to do some jewelry myself back in the day. Fancy little tools. Yeah. Now my eyesight's not so great. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me. Smash the buttons below. Check out the links in the more descriptions. And it's nice in your neck of the woods. Please go for a ride. Go for a ride. Get out of the garage. Yeah. Till next time, from the garage. Have a great day. Oh, side note, little plastic things like this. I'm gonna have to go give this to my wife. She loves peeling these kinds of things off. It's kind of a thing. So I'll be back. Now, where the hell to chuck it? Because, you know, garage shops, very limited on space, and I don't really have space to stash stuff. Just stash. Well, did anybody ever see a show? I forget the comedian's name. Just to identify, are you a redneck? Well, maybe I should just stash this and just put it on the old one. Kind of like you have your own burned out TV and you put the new TV on top of it because you don't know what to do with the old TV. Yeah, you may know this because newer peeps, TVs are flat. They're not square anymore. just thought that'd be kind of funny. Maybe not. Let's not do that.